It is Ashwin, and I'm here to talk about how we can go through the process of building a cybersecurity operations center, or you can say a CSIRT team. And basically, I'm referencing the guidelines that is given by the National Cybersecurity Center. And what I've done is I updated my tool with the task that is needed. So to start with, we can actually start with a tool that is Incident Response Planner, and I have it already loaded up with the questions. So it's basically a tool that can help you to assess. Basically, it's more a planner, basically helping you to plan the assessment or plan the plan, and then we talk about remediating that, or if there is any remediation needed, we look at the building it, developing and maintaining the whole process. Now, I just want to keep in mind that this particular planner may not be exactly what you need in your organization, but it gives an idea. In my case, I'm trying to target creating an incident response team using Microsoft Sentinel as my monitoring activities or monitoring tool. So like any other tool, you need to put the initial configuration in, and basically you're asking for team details, technology, and the devices in your network, and then go to the milestone. And here you start with the assessment part, and you can see that the assessment basically has the identify section, wherein if you see into this, it actually asks about discussing the assess milestone of the Sentinel deployment project. And I did make a video on this part, and I would suggest you to go through that to get to know more about the Sentinel deployment project. You will find several references to Sentinel deployment project in this. As I mentioned, in my case, this deployment is based on Microsoft Sentinel. Now, once that is done, the assessment, then we go to the planning part, wherein I actually look at different things, like, I need to have a IR or incident response plan in place. I should be looking at how the communications or overseeing or monitoring or tracking or documentation of incident management will happen. Then we talk about how the severity is looked after, look at the categorization, how the escalations can be done, look at the incident response processes so that we know what to do when something happens. And then we finalize on the incident, how we can basically review it and close that. And then if there is any requirement of runbook, we actually look at that creation, and then looking at the legal and regulatory requirements as well. So that's basically what involves the planning section. The remediation, you can actually see that I'm talking about remediating all of these things that are mentioned in the onboarding Microsoft Sentinel project plan. Again, I would say you to go through the video that is made exactly based on that. I would put that in the description. And then once the remediation is done, we look at building the CSIRT, wherein we start with the team, identify the coverage, whether it's 24/7 or is it 5x8, and what kind of support do you need, and what kind of skill set and experience do you require, what are the training requirements, and then what is the typical situations of building and things like that. So on an executive level, how we make sure that we look at all of these options. Now, once that is actually done with the building process, then we develop that CSIRT. Now, this is basically an onboarding process of that Sentinel to be completed, because the technology part of that whole process is basically Microsoft Sentinel at this point. You may have more technologies in this list, but in my case, I'm okay with the Sentinel, and I should be fine with it. So if you have further other things like a Defender or any of that other technology, you probably can put them here. And then once that is developed, and then I look at maintaining it, it's a typical process of making sure that you take care of your capabilities, look at the support from the senior management, understand the threats and risk involved related to your business, and what's your current capability baseline looks like, where do you have to be, and then you look at all the budget constraints, and look at the costing involved, and then looking at all the requirements from the key stakeholders and the team requirements, and then mention the identifying the gap analysis, and then we look at all the risk involved, and then you try to get rid of them, and then we look at or all kind of options wherein whether this particular cybersecurity CSIRT team has to be an in-house one, or you're basically looking at an outsourced capability, basically looking at an MSSP to do that activity. And then at the end of the day, once after that is done, then you look at what can you do to maintain the capability that you've already created. Now, just like any other tool, once you have completed all of the activity or the task, you can actually see the progress of your task here, and you basically could actually even see different types of charts available and what's your maturity level in this. And I believe this particular planner would have given you an idea how you can plan your CSIRT or SOC engagement. And if you are actually working with you as a service provider, then we basically go through the exact same step, and this includes even building up a team internally with us. All right, so have a nice day, and let me know if you have any questions.